Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, if you wanna jam.
Sons of another Whitman awake, retake the word, retake the song. There's no time now for sleeping till noon in your shuttered rooms. There's no time now as New York crumbles beneath our feet under the trampling of a nation of sheep. As Kabul is wiped off the map, as the Palestinian follows in the footsteps of the Native American, gone with the echoes of 1,000 mothers' cries, everyone asking, why? Not for freedom, not for democracy, but for a new kingdom ruled by philanthropy. Yes, blood is thicker than water, but not as thick as oil. How many must still be killed to keep the drills alive? Where are the new Ginsburgs, the new Dylans, the voices of a new generation with their cut-up jeans and backpacks? Where are all the great minds of today? Still roaming their dark alleyways? Yes, Ferlinghetti is still alive, but so too is Dick Cheney. The usurpers are still in the house and all the voices remain silent. How many Kyotos must be rejected? How many Johannesburgs overruled by a party of one? How many rulers selected and promises broken before we stand up and speak out and take back what should be ours? Guaranteed by birth. Whitman's wild children are all alive and well, so put down your glasses and pick up your pens, get on your buses, all going further, and let your voices be heard. In times of war and homelessness, truth is always the first victim as the casualties pile up in our collective consciousness. Memory has the lifespan of a goldfish, forgetting itself with each subsequent news cycle. Spun around half lies and whole falsehoods, the politician is never too far away to pat himself on the back, taking credit for what he has never done, or at best, was forced to do. Selling cheap words and platitudes to the suffering masses who must make do with unkept promises and a shrinking waistline as stretching bread lines lick an empty shelf. Compassion dies behind tall walls that separate the eyes from the hearts as those with more shorten the table to stuff their faces with the blood of the poor. For hunger is a crime in times of war and homelessness, and the refugee must take the blame for the shock and awe, but only the guilty would place their children beneath our bombs bursting in air and the rockets' red glare that is there to entertain us, to distract us from our own humanity, for having the audacity to wash up upon our shores like some dead fish with the tides. For in times of war and homelessness, with God on our side and the proper application of collective punishment, we may be blessed to even forget that they ever existed at all. For all those who say it can never be done, who look upon those ivory towers with their militarized trenches, disappearing chambers, and puppet mechanisms, imitating human beings in all aspects, except for a conscience and a body to jail, enslaving a world with divisions of hate and sectarianism. I say, dream of a world which is at peace with itself. For all those who have given up hope, who have fallen to despair, who see the skies falling in on them and the shoreline inching closer, who have given into fear and the bitter tears of defeat. I say, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Stand tall and lead. For all those who dream of freedom, there is no easy path. Hills follow hills and mountains before we reach our valley. We must use our time wisely and see the horizon. Settle not for a life worth less than living. Reach with your first and very last breath towards victory to that mountaintop, and we will all be there with you on the front line of life, standing in the light of that glorious sun. Lift up your hearts, the time is ripe. It always seems impossible until it is done.
I stood under the moon last night, 3 a.m., the witching hour. Mist lay low on the ground, surrounding me in a blanket of quiet and yet strangely amplifying sound. A breeze rose as I stood in the center of a circle of flame, my blade in my hand, fused to my limb as lovingly as a lover whispering my name. As above, so below, I felt the current from the core of the earth rising through my chakras, connecting to the energy of the universe, meeting within me at center mass, my heart burning in white magnesium light, a relay switch in the circuit of human existence. I hum with the essence, all of us. Power rides me, and I take it in my hand. I am vessel, ready to be filled. The transformer of the divine rewired me, and I am aglow with this gift from the divine. I can hear the frequency singing to me at my highest side, clad in the armor of crone knowledge, crone wisdom, crone love. The power of three is woven into me, and each time, magic thick in the air. Dust motes float around me. The universe flipped my switch, called me from the dark, made me shine like the sun. I will brook no interference with my calling. I will not veer from my course. So to any evil that would touch me, to any demon who would seek my blood, look in my eyes and listen to my voice. 3, 2, 1. Run.
When routine bites hard and ambitions are low, and resentment rides high, but emotions won't grow, and we're changing our ways, taking different roads. Waking up every day with an anchor of dread holding me from wanting to step out of the bedroom, fearing the looming outcome of emotional Russian roulette. The normalization of instability had finally taken its toll. 4 years, 4 months of a failing relationship, riddled with fear, anxiety, depression, self-loathing, and miscommunication was coming to a head. We both knew a storm was coming. We just had no idea how damaging it was going to be. We were as ill-prepared ending this journey as we were when we first started. If Murphy's Law manifested itself into relationship, this was it. This was us. This was our reality. We were both held responsible for the creation of this black hole that has dawned in the presence where fiery passion once thrived. Why is the bedroom so cold? You turn away on your side. Is my timing that flawed? Our respect runs so dry, yet there's still this appeal that we kept through our lives. We had waited nearly a decade for our love to finally blossom. Our chemistry was undeniable, or so it seemed. Unlike all promising scientific theories, this hypothesis needed to be put to a test. The unique set of obstacles we conquered made us believe infinitely that the catch was going to be worth the chase, yet reality did not meet expectations for the both of us. Yet we clung onto hope like the face paint we wore in public, the belief that our efforts were not in vain, that we would not succumb to our wounds in the battlefield of our love. Why do you cry out in your sleep? All my failings exposed. There's a taste in my mouth as desperation takes hold. Just that something so good just can function no more. Unresolved trauma before and during this relationship had a way of undoing the sutures every time the opportunity presented itself. Now that the war is over, we can finally heal. However, we now bear the scars of our past that are naked. We can now bear the scars of our past that the naked eye cannot see. PTSD. As we walk in silence on our different roads, navigating through the wreckage of the streets in our heart ghettos, all I see is danger, always danger. I do wish you nothing but the best, however, hurts to see the mountain of our love crumble into the sea of memories as memories of your face begin to fade away. Love has torn us apart.
Brazilian waxing poetic. Across the silver film behind my eyes, I revisit our time together, pawing breathlessly as grain by grain all of me seeped from your hourglass figure. hurling glass walls at brick bottles graffitied with Exodus 14:14. I wait impatiently for something to come unglued. Until the last drop, I do not recognize the back of my own hand. I say, not me, not I, for there is none like myself. Triumvirate, I am the objector, the objective, and the exception. Amen. But since then, I've made quite the progression. I long for daylight and no longer find my worth in my depression. You inspired me to get over all the pitiful transgressions and be the me that people love, but only got to see in sessions and for seasons. The reason for the change is all the lessons that I took from your leaving. See, I made it my sole mission to, if we met again, be in a place where you'd make the election to forgive me, and thus, I trust, assuage my still obsession. Do you ever think of me? I still dream of us in the same room. Does that frighten you? Or do you find it romantic? Am I tragic? Or am I a parasite? A mite? A device to foment revulsion? Or worse? You feared me in the end. You cared for me once. Really, really, like a lot, you said. Did someone get to you? Or am I just being paranoid? I miss you. I'll say it again for the people in the back. I miss you. Funny. I hardly knew you. Funny. I think I may have loved you. Eventually.
You are walking down a dark street, lost. This must be a bad dream, are your first thoughts. The bright golden full orb of the moon broke into your eyes. You try and find some shelter, a place to hide from your mind. Walking slowly towards a seemingly abandoned mansion while forcing holy hordes to fragment your assortment of saddened imagination. Faced with a locked door, you knock and wait. Begin to contemplate this decision you've just made. The hair on the back of your neck seems to fly away. Unsure of the time and space you're currently residing in, you feel a strong pull to force this locked door open, hoping that what lies in wait is a better place than what you currently face. Urgency races, thrusting you to take action. You begin to hear an unlatching, a bit of laughing. As your bitter thoughts turn to see what's happening, the door unlocks and your spirit is grabbed and passes in. Your mind begins unraveling a madness you are lost in. You feel a deep relief as you are tossed into your coffin.
Black salt. We live in fear. Black dog. Black beard. Don't forget to comb your hair. Black bones. Black crows. Wake up early. Sing with the birds. Black keys. Black wings. Don't forget who runs the sea. Black cats, black flag. We became the devil. Good men turned sour. Black powder, darkest hour. It's not as simple as you think. No return. Black rose thorns. Black salt. We live in fear. Black dog. Black beer. Our life, a nonstop fight for peace, mind, body, and soul. They don't make it easy. If you want it bad enough, get prepared to WORK in the worst way. Peace of mind and equal share, that would be too simple. The more ambiguous, the more challenging, the better. If it's one thing life is good at, it's kicking you in the balls. I don't know why God insists on that spot. It's not like you can strengthen that area, but you can get pretty damn good at dodging and pivoting. Roll with the punches, as they say. Yeah, some turn bitter, some turn sour, some don't get it, and others haven't got a clue. What would it take to get on God's good side? Then perhaps my burdens wouldn't be so great, and my balls wouldn't ache. Let this be a prayer to the one in the sky. Yours truly, God's favorite.
Back in 2011, I was part of a group called Occupy Los Angeles. If you know Occupy Wall Street, we were the second largest encampment in the country. And when we were like 2,000 people around City Hall for 2 months, intense. Basically, if anyone doesn't remember Occupy, the Occupy movement was when they crashed the housing market and stole a million homes around the country, bankrupted a lot of people, started the homelessness crisis here in the States. We were fighting that back in the day. And when the order came down that they were going to evict our camp, I said, hell with that. And I climbed 30 feet up into a magnolia tree and tied myself in. I pulled my tent up with me and basically made a standoff up there. And when the cops came in, they flooded the park we were in around City Hall. And I was up in the tree. I was tied in, and they didn't see me right away because there was a lot of smoke and running around and confusion, all this. And then all of a sudden, this one cop looks up and he sees me up in the tree, and he's got a shotgun. And he looks at me and he cocks the shotgun and he points it at me. And he says, "You ready to come down now?" And I look at him, and I'm a cheeky guy. I'll fuck with you somehow. I said, "Wait a minute." All right. I unhooked my safety line. I said, "Now, when you shoot me and I fall and get hurt, you're going to be responsible." And he looks at his sergeant. The sergeant looks at me, and they say, "We'll be back for you." And so they came back later to get me. But the point is that when I was up there were a pair of crows up there with me. And they became a symbol of resistance. So this is the poem that came out of it. But I prepared a special thing for it because I want to do this. Like, see, we got the tool, the Zoom and all that. So I want to try to do a special performance here for you. So this is called The Crows. And let me fix this real quick. Here we go. And don't you dare disturb those crows. Those crows been up in that tree longer than you'd know. Don't you dare disturb those crows. Up there they perch with midnight beak askew, sharpened talons, grippy and silky bark, ready to tear the flesh off the wayward field mouse. Eyes translucent black, they see right through you, cock-a-doodle-doo. You better have grit in your heart to travel in these woods. Them crows be always one step ahead of you. That's 'cause they got 99 to the one of you. They may seem fearful stepping back, retreating to their branches. Just be careful overhead when you walk beneath them, ficus. Crows got a nasty way of keeping track of you. So don't you dare disturb those crows. Those crows been up in that tree longer than you'd know. Don't you dare disturb those crows. Now, you may think you'll pitch a tent and stay a while, see what's going on underneath them shooting stars, and maybe you think those crows will just make way for you. Well, maybe they may and maybe they won't. That depends on your own intentions. The tree is big and the limbs are wide. There's space for all who wish to reside. Yet as you climb up high into the thicket of those leafy branches, do not be too surprised if the crows have all absconded and now left unable to follow. You might take the tree, but does that make you truly free when their silence has stolen your thunder? Don't you dare disturb those crows. Those crows been up in that tree longer than you know. Don't you dare disturb those crows. They followed me home tonight. I could see their shadows lurking above, stalking my every footstep, daring me to slow my pace, pushing me faster. I ran away, feet falling fast, beating damp cobblestone. I turned towards an alley, candlelight shimmering, brick cages closing in. They circled in above my head, calling. Their raucous voices taunted my path into my very doorstep. Turning silver key, I entered safer quarters. Collapsing on my sofa, I took solace in the knowledge that not a moment of this would make the evening news. Officially, they didn't exist. Those crows, gazing through my window, pecking at my eyes, filling my head with their social discontent, were only a figment of my imagination. Or so I am told. Don't you dare disturb those crows. Those crows been up in that tree longer than you'd know. Don't you dare disturb those crows. In winter, naked branches stretch out in all directions. Their spindly fingers make nests for a flock of silhouettes. 99 crows have gathered, gazing at the horizon, watching and waiting. They bide their time. Twilight says... Twilight said sunset before them. Sunset marks their feeding time. As if a call had just been... As if their cue had just been called, they cock their heads and lift their beaks, and though as if exploding, they burst into the sky, streaking black the eventide. 99 crows devour the horizon. Don't you dare disturb those crows. Those crows been up in that tree longer than you know. Don't you dare disturb those crows. Now maybe you think you're a hawk circling ahead, or the noble and bloodthirsty eagle watching from on high, looking down with ridicule onto the swarming Negro masses below. Just let it be advertised. Those crows ain't no doves ready to coo and die. They're much too intellectual for that. Their lack of attack comes more from experience of not knowing how and where to strike their blows to be the most effectual. With all your speed and strength, the audacity of your governance, you'd never see it coming. The crows are everywhere. They're every one of us. When we come, it'll be from every direction. Don't you dare disturb those crows. Those crows been up in that tree longer than you'd know. Don't you dare disturb those crows.
Do you smell it? That smell. That smelly kind of smell. That smelly smell that smells smelly. No, not anchovies. No, not spoiled room temperature dairy. No, not a hot steaming pile of feces. Worse. This is a smell so bad that has brought back my COVID-affected sense of smell with a fiery vengeance. I have smelled fumes from compactors and scrap traps and taken many a crap that has smelled better than whatever possible genetic mishap has caused someone to smell worse than a bubonic dirt nap. This particular stench has been known to attract flies and linger onto furniture after hours have gone by from the source of the stink, even clinging onto the seats of pants of unfortunate souls who decide to give their feet a break. Never have I heard of a workplace being more excited about an employee taking a vacation than the one employee taking the vacation. Blessed be are the ways of vacation pay. For 1 week, we are blessed with the privilege to breathe without contorting our faces in the style of a Bill Plimpton animation, to breathe without suppressing our gag reflexes or stepping away from the area of contamination, to breathe while working without interrupting oneself from the smell's reach and oppression. Hey, Facebook, we are marked safe from calamity to the sinus cavities, from the evil that the eyes cannot see. Hey, Hannibal Lecter, the lambs have stopped screaming. For now, at least.
White wailing, weightless, teetering, helter-skelter, out of tune, awfully off key, keel and kilter, engine pace edging out, panting wheels, head over heels he fell, plumb down the well, into a delightfully decadent deluge of delicious delusion. At his lowest point, he met a lovely lass, a lush in recovery, though he had recovered not from the store of sore lashings left behind by his lusciously lashed lust. He allowed love once more to from a pouting, powdered whore's ventricular spigot spring, and out a torrent poured. And for a moment, he entirely forgot he had ever been hoisted overboard. Too late coming to recognize my floundering, I examined my surroundings to feel only smooth stone in my anxiety compounding. From my teal eyes, tears spout as I realize there's no climbing out, and resigned not to go quietly, I ignite what's left of this half ounce. Couched comfortably now in the crotch of a fig tree, I've missed me. Don't take it to heart, please, when I tell you I'm not listening, I'm reminiscing. On mincemeat, I don't mince words or repeat terms like a president. My precedent is innocent irrelevance, maintaining surface elegance, convalescent, all wrapped up in vain attempts to mend what men did. Standoffish when you ask me not to act so offended. I've more to say, but it's high time my spirit has ascended and left my hapless cadaver turtled. I can hear my stomach curdle as every sentence becomes a hurdle far too generous to make verbal, and my je ne sais quoi is foregone for a series of senseless gurgles. I invite myself cordially to another swig of this cordial. 40 score endorphins force me to forget that I'm still mortal. As the days pass, waves clash and rode the cliffs of Dover. If a diver's to survive the tide, they'll have to do so sober. So please heed, I'm in dire need of a shoe in for a sailor. I'm a head in for the oven, easy baked within a brazier. I'll throw a tenor in if you tremble at the tiny Tim soprano when my bleeding fingers penetrate the ivory piano, but a tantrum if you punctuate my tender timbre's tempo. Too much rage can be upstaged by a chemical falsetto. A boy's a gun, but a humble tongue conceals the steel knife of a widwaif left to wave off Sunday wafers from a past life in the form of an ink pen, manufacturing confections more arresting than the ferrosexted vivisect erection during seatbelt shenanigans fueled by car seat carcinogens, elegies for prophylactics, what I'd give to be a kid again, ignorant of prejudicial presiding presidential predispositions. Red bats in white caps serve blue-eyed depositions. Hilton Head Hamptons torching rainbow coalitions. Cardboard masculinity to the nunnery or the kitchen. The winning party gets to pencil in the silver sin of Benjamin. So don't you dare pretend it's my fault I seek respite in adrenaline.
What is this I see? Do my eyes deceive me? Receiving a transmission, I'm kindly believing in transcription, while blindly it seems to me this vestige is mildly unsightly. Politely, I lightly dismiss this mystic, while I kindly smile nicely, wisely dismissive. This mist of mist, highly unlikely, twisted syndrome, tightly persistent nightly wisdom. Vision gone, I exist in the grips of sound signals. Decision strong, I dismiss the trips we found crystals in the shapes of skulls. This place is all a memory waiting to be lost, to be found. It's so profound. I spin around till I'm dizzy. Sitting next to myself, I quickly realize this is my own mind. A guise I've must have hidden from a long, long time ago. So I'll step lightly and stick close to the shadows. So close I've leapt slightly towards the fringe of existence while keeping a safe distance. These unlikely swords miss this. I have freed the untidy hordes of misfits, gripped in mighty cords, forged in timely resistance, coexistence within this Zoom, this self, this room, this body, this, what the fuck is this?
War is an act against the grain, choosing paths where things can't remain, inflicting harm on other beings, ignoring their sentient feelings. War is chaos, a human-made storm, causing harm regardless of who is scorned, subjecting others to hate and torture, spreading death from internal hate, projected disorder. Humans are all connected, and by destruction, all are affected. The toll of death should be concerning, a relentless fire forever burning. What happened to the concept of peace, where all are equal and hate can cease? Generations past have endured enough. It's time to break these cycles, even if they are tough. Pleading for acts of compassion, embracing peace as a lasting fashion, may peace across the globe be found, so all beings find belief inside and around.
From a young age, this tongue has invoked inadequacy in those around me. I've been slick, been eating pussy for too long to not know how to properly devour a bitch. Their words and actions were never matching, so I began to use my hands instead. Began digging ditches, then laid bitches in their beds. My hands are free to finally receive all of the wins owed to me, because I realize I'm protected in the rooms that I speak. The Bloodmire family is those who guide me, and they confided in me, told me of all the whispered fallacies that you tried to cloak behind them teeth. You should have heeded the advice of a deity. I told you to be careful of the company you keep, and yet you still summon me. So now I'm deep in your bloodstream. You're gonna fear how much you love me. Checkbox the villain in your story as I grab the sharpest tip in my inventory. Energy cannot be hidden, only masked in something different. And the sins you've committed can't be unwritten. The truth behind your character is being revealed behind closed doors. I admit I get off on watching you cry on all fours. Stuck in fetal position, I feel no remorse. I'ma watch you crumble outside too, brightly colored as your darkness eats away at you. Watch as I lick both sides of this spoon, silver tongue ready to seal your wounds. Close your coffin, I'm done with you. I've laid my burdens down to rest in peace. Just know I'ma find you in your sleep, make you pay me in tears for the company you chose to keep. You're gonna think it's Freddie and this bitch because I'ma bust one off to your screams. I'm not your enemy. I'm not your friend. Jai is something you truly cannot comprehend.
I come from the witchdom, where you get 3 wishes. I come from the fire, land, sky, and the ocean. I am the middle of the Triskelion, rebirth and transformation. I am bubbling cauldrons, kin to Awen, but you can call me Kurtadwen. Kurtadwen, Kurtadwen, Kurtadwen. Say it 3 times, 1 for land, sea, and sky. Bear witness, the Triskelion comes alive. Why do you hide? I'm in the ether, ever whispering a warm sentence in your winter silence. You perform for the collective, but I am your only witness. See, I have prepared enchanted stew to rebirth you anew, but only for me and you. Mother and son, moon and musicians, Pluto and poets, the planets planned it, the cosmos conspired me to write. Bear witness to a mother goddess, goddess of mystery, poetry, and divine conspiracy. Her name is Kurtadwen, keeper of the cauldron.
I don't know which hurts worse, you being my last or you being my first. 1 in 4, she said. See, statistically, scientifically, you were an anomaly. Never meant to be anything other. But see, I was always meant to be your mother. DNA binds us. Their explanation of the situation will never define us. You measured 6 weeks. In actuality, I was 8. And you were, wait, nowhere to be found. A loss. I am at a loss for words, all cried out, all dried out, shedding lining in all disbelief, grief, and relief. I'm relieved. For I could not conceive, I could not fathom having three. Your Honor, I am guilty of a crime, not wanting what was already mine. How many times did I say I wanted you to go away until the day that you did? I walked in ready to commit, ready to nurture you, ready to be your mother, just to discover you disappeared on me. The words I'll take back, just don't give me an empty sack, no pole to hold, left with a wound cold and hollow, though these echoed the beats of my heart. Red sheets greet me for a week. See, I sat with that. I sat with you, or what would have been. Yet turned out to be a bloody mess. I'm a mess. I confess this was my darkest wish. That I didn't want to come true. I never meant to take your life from you. With my very words, I got what I deserved for not embracing, for not facing reality. Yet in reality, a part of me is actually happy. I didn't want to suffer being a mother again. Selfish much, but to feel your touch would have been more than enough for me. You would have been more than enough for me, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I made you feel otherwise. I am full of lies and disillusions, your life shrouded with confusions, what ifs and maybes. Maybe you were never a baby, and maybe it shouldn't faze me, and maybe I'm okay, but what if I'm not? How do I fill this spot? How do I fill this empty space in my heart, left with a dark hole found on an ultrasound? You never will be around. I'll never hear the sound of your cries, just mine. These tears belong to me and only me, for I long to see you a part of this family. How could it be? How could it be they will never hand you over to me? A loss, they call it. A miscarriage is all it turned out to be. How long did you actually fight to stay with me? Week 2 or week 3? Did you even see 5? At what point were you no longer alive? I need to know. I needed you to grow. Why? Why did you have to die, and why didn't you take me with you? I just want you to know, Mommy will miss you. Now I throw away the tissues and I bury the issue with a stack of pads, for yesterday isn't coming back. 2 is all I have. Basic math. You were my first. You were my last.
You cloaked yourself in charm like it was your birthright. Halo worn, stitched from lies, crowned by deception, throne built on falsehoods, inherited arrogance, wrapped in silk smiles. Only you were counterfeit as thin as air. I could smell rot beneath your cologne. Read between your lines, caught fine prints of your manipulation, words twisted like vines, trying to choke my light. Knew how you dipped your tongue in my honey to disguise venom. Every kiss laced with poison, even though I learned the antidote, I played alone. Because sometimes you have to dance with the devil in the moonlight to highlight steps to freedom. We tangled in circles of manipulation, thinking you were leading, yet I was memorizing rhythms, counting missteps to you called love. But love ain't supposed to feel like shackled barbed wire fences. It shouldn't feel like ties to wrists behind backs. While you sat back grinning, love ain't supposed to feel like a noose tightening every time you breathe. And I felt weight of your words like ropes around neck, loosening them when you weren't looking. Love doesn't leave fingerprints on your soul like bruises. I felt every mark, but you didn't know my soul was healing while you were trying to break me. You took my stillness as weakness, thought I danced to your tune forever, but I was never dancing for you. I was learning how to break free from you. Even the devil slips and falls, and when you stumbled, I saw cracks in your armor. Empire you built on control came crashing down, shattering in your own reflection, me finding freedom in your cracks. Now I'm free of your illusions. Stronger than lies you spun. I walked away from fire you started and turned it into my own light, reclaiming every piece of me you tried to steal, turning cruelty into armor, worn daily. My survival etched in steel. You didn't break me. Nah, only sharpened blade now carried, carving out my own destiny far from your reach. This is a taste of Southern Soul.